Hello students. So today in this session we were to start with one of the other basic concepts of OOPS, that is inheritance. So these are the things that we will be discussing in this session today about what this inheritance means, its definition, what are the uses of inheritance, what are the different types of inheritance, and then we will be talking about various access specifiers. So, to begin with, let us very first know what this inheritance means. As we have been discussing in every session of ours, that because we are talking everything in terms of object orientation, so talking in same terms, inheritance is actually a mechanism through which a class inherits the properties of another class. If we relate it to the real world, we can see like the properties of a grandfather gets inherited by a father, the properties of father is inherited by his son, and the process goes on. So in the same fashion it goes with our object oriented programming in the case of classes. Here the properties of a class can be inherited by another class. The class that inherits the properties is the child class or the derived class or the subclass, while the class that is being inherited is the parent class or the superclass. So this is what uh, inheritance means. Now, why do we use inheritance? What are the uses? So we can compare it with the real life as well. But specifically when talking about programming section, the first thing that comes into our mind is the concept of reuse. Reuse in the sense there are certain functions that are already inculcated in a that are already there existing in a particular class. Now if there is another class that wants to use its own functions, and in addition it wants to use certain other functions that have already been defined and declared by another class, so instead of making that function again, the concept of reuse comes into existence. The properties or the functions that are already been made in the parent class can be inherited by its subclass in addition to its own prevailing functions. After reuse, uh, we can talk about uses one by one. So now there comes the question that why do we use inheritance in our programming? The simple concept is there are certain functions that are already existing in a class. Now if there is some other child class or the derived or the subclass that has its own functions, but in addition the subclass wants to use some functions that are already existing, so instead of making those functions again, instead of utilizing more memory, it is always convenient and comfortable to reuse the classes that are already in existence in its parent class. So talking about the types of inheritance, a child class can inherit its parent class in various ways. Like suppose there is a class A and its child class B. Now this child class can inherit the property of its parent class or the superclass, and then in return another class C can again inherit the properties of class B. Now this class B is a child class to the class A and has become a parent class to class C. So this class B is acting as a subclass for parent class or superclass A and is a parent class to the child class C. So this is termed to be as multi-level inheritance, and the process can go up to n number of levels. I'll tell you this through programming codes as well, but to understand the concept, let us first understand what this multi-level or multiple means. So this is what multi-level inheritance is. But it is not necessary that we acquire the properties only from one of the parent class. I can acquire certain properties from my father. I can acquire certain properties from my mother as well. So there comes the concept of multiple inheritance, where a child class can have more than one parent class. Multiple inheritance refers to the inheritance where a child class can have its more than one parent class. So now to implement it through the coding section, as we have already discussed in our previous sections, that a class is to be made using the keyword class. Suppose there is a class named A. It has its own body consisting of various functions and data members. Terminated by a semicolon. Now, when there comes another class B that has its own data members as well as member functions. Now, suppose there are a number of functions, we say A, B, suppose A and B are the two functions of class A, and class B has its own member function named C. Now, what if this class B also wants to use the properties of class A? So instead of making, if the class wants this A function in its own class, instead of making that function in this class itself, what this class can do, can inherit the property of class A. For that, this class has to write class B public A. So this implies that now class A is being inherited by class B, and all the public members of this class now can be accessed by this child class B. Now mind it, I said all the public members. See, keep on relating these things with the real world. I have certain functionalities that I want to restrain to myself. I don't want my things to be disclosed or to be get transferred to my child. Or there are things that I want to share it publicly. Or there are things that I want to share it to some particular group of people. I don't want to I don't want that I am accessible to all. So as per the requirements, there comes the use of access specifiers. There are three access specifiers: public, private and protected in C++. And these access specifiers put a limitation or a restriction to a particular class. Suppose I am the class, I am the parent class, and there is some other class who wants to inherit me. I have my some own functions that I want to keep restricted to myself, and I don't want that those properties get inherited or get obtained by any other class. So in that particular case, what I can do is I can make those particular functions to be private. Now my private functions can be accessed only through by my own objects. The objects from the other class will have no access to my own private declared functions or private declared data members. But if I make them public, the same functions, the same data members are now open to any of the other class. In any other class can use my data members and member function. In C++, if we don't write this keyword public or private, if we leave it blank, then by default it is considered to be private. My data members, my member functions, if I am a class, will be considered as private, and will not be accessible to any of the other class until and unless I declare it to be public. And if I haven't declared it anything, it is by default considered to be private. Now, there comes the concept of protected access specifier. Public and private is clear by now. Now, the concept of protected. There are certain properties in me that I want that only my child class, my objects and the objects of my child class can use. So, for that, this protected keyword is to be used. So, instead of writing public here, if I write protected, if I write the keyword protected, then my members, whether it be a data member or a member function, my members will be accessible either only to my own objects or by the child class that inherits me, and none other class can access my data members or member functions if it is declared to be protected. Right? So we'll be discussing the next things in our next lecture. Hope these access specifiers are clear by now. We'll be talking about other types of inheritances and how to implement it into the coding section. We'll be discussing it in the next session. Have a great day.